Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. We gotta talk about the concept of influence, The reality is, in the world that we live in, media is everything. At the end of the day, the most important currency isn't the dollar, it's influence. And of course, according to the big corporations, the big establishment talking heads, the people who are the most influential are all these Hollywood celebrities, right? These late night talk show hosts. I mean, they're the ones getting paid the big bucks, right? They must have the influence. Well, it seems as though not so much anymore. That's changing and changing real fast. And if this trend continues, I think gone will be the times where we see people like Anderson Cooper pulling in $20 million a year. I mean, I still can't wrap my head around that. $20 million a year going to Anderson freaking Cooper. I think gone are the days where we see this kind of money moving to these influencers who seem to be unable to influence freaking jack squat. I think the DNC bankroll is about to dry up in Hollywood, as Hollywood's true influence has in a way been quantified here. There's a study that was just released that gives us some pretty good insight into how truly irrelevant these people really are. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on here. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so here's a really interesting piece from the Daily Mail. It starts off with the title, "Embarrassment for Woke Late Night Hosts, as New Study Shows How Their Anti-Trump Pleas Fell on Deaf Ears." Late night hosts relentlessly made Donald Trump the focus of nearly all their jokes before the presidential election, but failed to sway the voting as revealed by a new study. A shocking 98% of jokes made by Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, and Saturday Night Live in lead up to the election day made Trump the butt of the joke, according to media watchdog group Media Research Center. As many as 1,428 of the 1,463 political jokes on these shows from September 3rd all the way through October 25th were targeted at Trump, the study found. That's a whopping 40-to-1 ratio, or almost 98% to 2%, said MRC analyst Alex Christie, as reported by Fox News. Even when the late night hosts mocked then nominee Joe Biden, they often softened the jokes with comments about Trump. In June, Seth Meyers touched Biden's age and cognitive decline, but then made sure to note Trump's criminal convictions. Quote, "As we made clear on the show repeatedly, there's no equivalency between an 81-year-old who occasionally shows signs of age and a demented 77-year-old criminal who says dead people rigged the election and thinks electric boat batteries will lead to shark attacks." Ha 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 ha, so funny. And so essentially here's what I'm gathering from this. These people, these big time, big shot celebrities who get paid the biggest bucks in the industry, who get to host the big award shows, who are, the face of the media. You see them all over the place on big billboards in New York and Los Angeles. These people who supposedly move the needle don't move the needle at all, despite the effort they're sinking into it. Folks, 98% to 2, a 40-to-1 ratio, non-stop anti-Trump propaganda onslaught, and all for nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I think it's game over for the celebrity class. I think it's game over for the mainstream media, folks. They have absolutely tanked their credibility into the dumpster. It seems like nearly everybody has come to the conclusion that these people are not celebrities, they're not comedians, they're just activists who happen to stand behind a desk delivering the Democrat punchline. It's all falling apart in front of our very eyes. And I think the last election pretty much exposes it. Kamala Harris spent $2 billion. Two. Initially, we thought it was one, but then if you count the super PAC money they spent, she spent $2 billion with a B, two big B's. She got every single celebrity to come out and do the puppet act, and it all meant nothing. It's no longer working, and just focusing on these late night comedians, who at one point were at the forefront of the political discussion, well, it's clear that their grift isn't working either. Their ratings are tanking, and their influence seems to be circling down the drain. It feels almost like beautiful poetic justice. I mean, remember when late night TV was actually funny, when you could watch Letterman, Leno, or even early Conan, and every night didn't feel like a lecture? Yeah, well, gone are those days, and now it's a different era where every joke has to be about Donald Trump or conservatives. It's always the same tired narrative, and guess what? The people are sick of it. It had no effect over the last election. Look at the ratings. Jimmy Fallon, the guy who was supposed to be the king of late night, is barely holding on with an average of 1.3 million viewers. Stephen Colbert, who used to dominate the space is flatlining with stagnant numbers around 2.8 million. Meanwhile, Greg Gutfeld is crushing it, pulling in more viewers than all of these so-called comedy titans. And that tells us one thing: it's clear that the public is done with the one-sided preachy nonsense. The market has spoken and the clowns are losing. The only people tuning into these shows are the people who already bought in. They're the Blue Anon shills who get programmed every single day by MSNBC and then tune in religiously to all these talking heads, getting a consistent dose of anti-Trump MK Ultra on a weekly basis. The leftist media machine has lost its grip, and they know it. And I think Elon Musk really said it best with that quote that everyone keeps repeating: "We are the media now." I think that one line sums it up perfectly. The days when a few Hollywood elites and network executives could dictate everything we see, everything we hear, and what we think are over. And now independent creators on platforms like X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and many others have completely changed the game. People are tuning out the legacy media and turning to voices that they actually trust, voices that challenge the establishment narrative, rather than simply parroting it while weaving a couple of cheap partisan jabs and jokes throughout their performance. And I think that's exactly how it should be. You know what it feels like is the world is healing. We were the fringe ones back in 2016. We were fringe. The majority was still tuning in to John Oliver and Stephen Colbert and essentially treating their word as gospel. We were the crazy ones. It was ridiculous to suggest that the mainstream media was engaging in fake news. That was just Donald Trump's ego talking. Anybody who he disagreed with, he just labeled them fake news. There was no merit to the claim. That's what it started like, but now it feels like a completely different environment. It feels like most people have come to the conclusion they've identified these Jimmy Kimmel characters as nothing but bought and paid for DNC hacks. At one point, it all becomes too much. And like I've been saying throughout this election season, I think the Democrats and their allies in the media overstepped their boundaries. Hollywood and the media took on this creepy role of trying to shape public opinion instead of reflecting it. It feels almost like a remnant of Operation Mockingbird. It probably literally is. They're not here to entertain us. They're here to program us. And I think people have collectively caught on to that. It's amazing to see. It feels almost like a pivotal moment. I think we are witnessing the end of an era where a small group of elites dictate the culture and control narrative. In other words, they don't have the influence they thought they did or they once had. And now they're realizing someone like Joe Rogan, for instance, probably has more influence than all of them combined. And I've been saying forever, celebrity endorsements don't matter. I remember when the whole Taylor Swift thing was happening not too long ago, people were panicking. Oh, if Taylor Swift endorses Kamala Harris, Donald Trump's gonna be in big trouble. We remember that narrative, right? And I remember thinking nobody gives a crap about what Taylor Swift has to say in the political realm. And you know what? Now I'm just glad, I'm just relishing in the fact that it seems like I was right. Their influence is not only waning, it's almost non-existent now. They have no influence. They have no ability to dictate political trends in the country. They have completely lost their credibility. They've absolutely lost their power, and it's just a beautiful thing to see. It feels like the world is healing. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.